Whoa. I just got to ask you one thing. What's your big problem? What's up, guys? Jason here, and welcome to episode number 9 of Building an Online Business from Scratch. I'm really excited because we are finally past the foundational part of what it takes to get your initial idea and concept for your business. So from here on out, we're actually going to be building a product, or I should say I'm going to be showing you what it took to put together a complete sales and marketing process for the first part of my funnel. So for those of you just joining, I'm going to be creating a webinar funnel that will eventually bring people into a back-end sequence for personal coaching. So that's the big end goal. In this video, I wanted to talk about the foundation for any product you make, specifically when you're doing information-based products, and that is the big problem. We always want to start with, what problem are we solving? It's really easy and it's really fun to come up with a lot of great course ideas, coaching ideas, consulting services that we could provide. But at the end of the day, everything that is sold is designed to solve a problem. And so we want to focus on big problems because it's going to make our marketing and business building a lot easier down the road. We don't want to build a product for a problem people kind of care about, but not really. Or worse, build a product for a problem that nobody has, or maybe like 3 people in the middle of Wisconsin have, and we can serve them, and then we have to go make another product, which is fine. You're solving their problem. You're solving someone's problem. You're delivering value. That's what we want. But we probably want to be able to sell our products and services to more than 3 people. So in this episode, I'm going to go through a exercise that I learned from Frank Kern on how to take a look at your ideal prospect. And if you don't have one, check out the link in the description to the ideal customer episode, because I went over how to create your ideal customer. I'm going to talk a lot about your ideal customer in here. But essentially, we want to take a look at our ideal customer and say, okay, we know what kind of business we want to start, and we know who you are. So let's figure out where there is a connection between the problems you have and what the kind of business I want to create. So briefly stated, my customer avatar's name is Scott, and if you go through his profile, he's got a lot of things. Well, maybe Scott wants to lose weight. Well, unfortunately, that's not something that I'm interested in solving at this point. But I am in luck that Scott does want to learn how to build his own consulting practice. That is a problem that I do want to solve. So now I'm going to jump into my trusty OneNote notebook and go through the different situations Scott might be facing and how I came up with which big problem to solve for Scott. All right, so what you're looking at now is a little table in my OneNote, and this this particular note is very, very long. Oh, wow, it's taking forever to load because I blew everything up. And we're going to be scrolling through all of this fun text and what it means over the next few episodes, just so you can see everything I did to put it together. But we are going to be starting from the top with the very first question to ask, and that is building your product, which is, what is the big problem you're going to solve? So we want to take a look at our ideal customer and say, okay, we want to start X type of business, whether that's dating, coaching, consulting, your marketing, fitness, nutrition, whatever type of business it is, what type of business you want to do. So that kind of tells you what niche you're going to be in. And then you have your ideal customer profile, and you're saying, okay, where they're at in life. And now we want to look at specifically what problems do they have as they relate to your business. So obviously, if they're dealing with weight, weight problems, but you want to do a product on how to build your business like I'm doing, well, I'll be cognizant of that, but I'm not going to really address the weight issue because I'm not going to be the person that solves that issue. So for me, I know Scott wants to start his own business, and he wants to do it relatively quickly. Like most people who want to start something, they want to do it quickly. And why not? So in the first column, I wrote down the situation. So what situation is he in? He wants specifically, and I went a step further. I said, okay, what kind of business does Scott want to do? Does he want to sell t-shirts on Teespring? Does he want to open a Shopify store? Does he want to do Amazon FBA? Does he want to be a Kindle publisher? Does he want to be a public speaker? Does he want to, be doing webinars? Like what specifically does he want to be a freelancer? Like there are all those questions would bring me to all the answers to those questions would bring me to different solutions. So the first thing we did is I did. So the first thing I did here, and I say we because I think hopefully you'll do this too, is take a look at their situation. So he's looking at, all right, I want to start a consulting practice. So what are the first things that are kind of come to Scott's mind? How do I get clients? How the heck do I get people to listen to me? I don't really want to figure this out from scratch. So what of all the plethora of sources out there, which one should I listen to? I want an easy solution that actually works. I'm not looking for a gimmick. There's a lot of easy things that are gimmicks, and then there are a lot of really hard things that don't work. So what are the easy ones that do? That's kind of the ideal world, right? And then a quick way to build the practice as a whole. So easy doesn't always necessarily mean fast. So he wants something that's easy and he wants it fast. Of course, have their cake and eat it too. He wants to be able to charge higher prices. He doesn't want to be worried about trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to compete when I'm nickeled and dimed on these things? I might as well just gone back to being an employee. Then there's the technology issues. Well, Scott is anywhere from 35 to his late 40s or early 50s. So he may or may not be really comfortable with technology. So one of the things in starting a online business, specifically an online consulting practice, he might be a little concerned about, having to learn how to code or, do HTML or something crazy like that. So then we have some other things that I didn't expand upon because looking at my initial list, I thought, okay, well, these are the ones I want to focus on. But I also looked at, hey, he's looking at ways to market himself. He's saying, man, how do I don't really know how to write blog posts. Then I'm going to have to do this whole social media thing that seems to be for teenagers. I don't really get it. And then I've heard about email marketing. I mean, I get a lot of messages that drive me nuts, but I think, I guess email marketing is the way to go. And then how do I keep the clients I get and, increase my fees? How do I justify at the end of the year saying, hey, it's going to be, $2,000 now instead of $1,500? And, how do I raise my prices as my business grows? So those are the situations. And these represents the problems or roadblocks my ideal customer has in terms of taking to that next step. So when you go through this exercise, you're going to want to look at your ideal customer and think, what's the situation in their head? Like, what's the roadblock that's keeping them or scaring them from taking action? And what's not only scaring them, but what is holding them back from taking action? So what do they think their big problem is? And it's key to note that what they think their big problem is isn't always necessarily what the actual big problem is. Of course, you're going to be the expert here, so you're going to be able to know. But we always want to do it from their perspective, because when we do it from their perspective, we're going to be able to build something that actually helps them. And sometimes I've found that you'll actually wind up building pieces of a product that you don't really think are that important, but they're important to your customers. So you're gonna include that. So anyway, and then I went through the solution. So how would I solve this problem, or what would the actual solution look like? And of course, you can pause the video if you want to, drudge through all of what I've written here. But essentially, I just went through. I said, okay, well, if he wants to know how to get clients, these are the things he could do. If he wants to get to people to listen to him, then he needs to be seen as an authority. And okay, so how do you become, what's a quick and easy way to be seen as an authority? Well, research shows that as soon as you have author after your name, people actually start listening to you. So, okay, well, maybe we're going to look at, doing a Kindle book, or maybe he's going to have a really nice looking website that just wows people right off the gate, or maybe he's going to have, a series of great blog posts that are going to solidify him as a key influencer. Or, okay, and then we go on to, he wants an easy solution that actually works. Well, we're going to look at social proof, how to use story as a way to sell. So that way he's not going to have to learn all these copywriting techniques. We can just kind of subvert those copywriting techniques and use story and social proof as a way to sell. So we're just going through and saying, okay, we know what the big problem is. We know what their solution looks like, or situation looks like. So now what are we going to, give them as, what could we possibly give them as a solution? And all of these possibilities represent a type of course that could be made. So in my particular instance, I could have made an advertising course. I could have made a blogging course. I could have made a WordPress course. Could have made a copywriting course. All of those types of things. I could have made a pricing course, a lead generation course. All of those different types of things would help Scott. However, what I thought would be the most helpful to him is I looked at this and said, okay, all of this comes down to if the question that stood out to me the most going through this was, how the heck do I get people to listen to me? And going through this process was like, well, if someone respects you as a consultant, as a coach, it's really easy to A, get them to listen to you, and B, to charge a premium price because you're trusted. So I wound up deciding that I was going to create a course to show Scott how he could become an authority. So how he could be seen as an authority. So he got that instant credibility, and he got that little off. And how I was going to do that, I'm going to show him how to create a sales funnel so he can not only so he can take leads and turn them hopefully into paying customers. And then I'm going to show him how he can use a book to solidify himself as an authority so he can answer that question of, how do I get people to listen to me? I'm going to be an author. I'm going to have a book in front of me and my name saying, hey, I wrote the book on the subject. I am the expert. This is why you should listen to me. And then I'm going to show him how he can create a simple sales funnel on the back of that so he can turn those people into clients and customers. So hopefully that was helpful. That's the process I went through for figuring out what the heck my product was going to be. And it all started with, what are Scott's problems? What are Scott's problems? What's his big main problem? And if I solved this one problem, like what's the one problem you could solve that kind of creates a domino effect and everything else can just fall into line from there? Of course, you can choose to target one little specific thing. If you're looking to make a mini course, then maybe you just do one on Facebook ads or Twitter ads, or here's how you do a remarketing campaign, or here's how you create a content schedule for your blog. Those were all other things that would have helped solve one of his problems. So I'll include a little mini version of this in the description below so you can go check that out and just make these two columns and go through it. It'll take you 10 or 15 minutes and you'll be able to come up with a great product idea that's actually going to solve a problem your ideal customer cares about. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that informative and actionable. If you got some value out of this video, go ahead and hit that like button and then subscribe for more business building tactics and strategies. And once you've done that, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. What big problem are you going to solve for your customers? And if you're willing to share, what kind of solutions do you think you could provide to solve those problems? And of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below, and I will be sure to read them and respond. So I'll see you in the next episode, and remember, build the business you love. Take care.